Hello everyone and welcome to I'll Be Sewing. My name is Gina and today I'm just going to show you guys how to do these pouches, these travel pouches. They're very easy to do and it's something that you can do with fat quarters if you have fat quarters sitting around. It doesn't take a lot of fabric. So I'm gonna give you a list of materials. I made these actually these ones are going to be from my family. My husband and my son really wanted these, so I ended up making these. I have two different sizes, and sometimes with these pouches what comes down is sizes. Sometimes a lot of people get confused, what size, what do I do, how do I increase it, how I decrease it. So this one here is a fairly good size, so will fit quite a few things. And as you see, on the inside is like that, and so it will fit quite a few things. Your toothpaste, whatever you decide, toothbrush, and a couple other perfumes and stuff like that. So if you travel, is really good. The size that I have here, let's see the finished size, so you guys have an idea what size it is, because sometimes on camera it can get a little confusing. So here I have from here to here. This is about 10.5 inches. Height, I have about 5.5, and the width from here to here I have about 3.5. all right, so that's the size that I have here, that I'm going to give you the measurements. Like I made this one smaller and this one here is slightly smaller. So this one here from side to side, this was 9, and the height of this one was only 4.5, and the width here was about 2 3/4. But the one that I'm going to be making is this bigger one, so because it will be easier. I will talk about the measurements of this one if you guys want to make it a smaller one, but the one that I'm going to be giving you the measurements is this one. Okay, so let's get started with what we need to make it. I'm going to put these here for the side. Let's see, so you're going to need fat quarters. So I have here these ones that I picked up. This one is from Camelot, these fabrics here, this one here, and it's called From London with Love. And this one here is actually from Northcote, and it's called Destinations. And this one here that you see is Discover Canada. It's called Discover Canada, and it's actually from Robert Kaufman. Okay, so that's the lines of fabrics that I used here on these. Also, this one is Northcote for Destinations. So the ones that I'm using here is going to be these ones here, and this one probably is going to be from my daughter because she also wants one. So I figure I might as well, while I'm recording, I'll do one for her. So we're going to need 2 fat quarters. For the lining, you're going to need probably either an extra fat quarter, or maybe if you have leftover fabric that you can do for your binding, because we're going to do some binding on these inside. As you see, these corners here has a little bit of binding here, so we're going to need a little bit extra for that because the fat quarter is not going to be enough. Then we're going to need a zipper, and if you're using a zipper that's that's already made, you're going to use at least a 24-inch zipper. I'm going to use this one that's sold by the yard. That's Zippers by the Yard. That's the ones I'm going to use on mine. You're also going to need foam. So this one that I hear is a flex foam, and this one is from Pellon. It irons in one side of the fabric. So I have mine here, so I'm going to cut a piece. And I also am going to need, what else I'm going to need? I think that's it. It's just these 3 things, well, actually 4 things. And my zipper. Of course, you're going to need pins, thread, and all the other sewing notions that you need. So from each fat quarter, that you have, you're going to be cutting. This is from the fat quarters. You're going to be cutting a piece. This one, as you see, if I open this fat quarter here, you see it's directional. So what I want you to do is, on this case here, you're going to cut From here to here, the direction of your fabric, you're gonna cut 18, and because it comes 18 already anyway, so because the fat cord is 18 by 22, so and then from here to here you're gonna cut 17. After you do that, you're gonna end up with a piece like this. And what I want you to do after you have this cut 18 by 18, well, by 17, the 18 size, you're gonna cut it in half in 9 inches, because I need to flip the direction of my fabric, because this is gonna be a bag, right? So you see here, I already cut it in half on this side here, on the direction of my fabric. I cut this in half, and then I turn one side so I have both fabrics sitting up like that. So it's facing this up and it's facing that up. So when I have my bag, they're all both looking up the same direction. So you're gonna do that. After you've done that, you cut it in half, you're gonna sew it, and you're gonna cut it down to 17 by 17. So your piece of fabric that you're gonna need for this bag here is 17 by 17. Okay, then you're gonna do the same with your fabric for the lining. 17 by 17. I think this one, my outside fabric, I still need to trim it down a little bit. I didn't trim mine down yet to 17 by 17. But I'm just gonna go ahead and trim that down. Then you're gonna get your foam, and you're also gonna cut a square of 17 by 17, and you're gonna go ahead and fuse to your outside fabric. Okay, I'm gonna just do that right now. So I have my piece here that I fuse my foam to it, and I have my lining. From the fat quarter that you had, you're gonna end up with a piece like this. That's the rest of my fat quarter that I cut from the 22, because it was like 22 inches. This I'm gonna be using for my strap here. Here I did 2, but you don't have to. You can do just 1. Or you can add 2, or you don't have to add it at all. But this one I'm just going to do 1. So I have about a 3-inch strip that was left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half, fold it in half, and half, fold it again, and this is the strap I'm going to be using. So I'm going to end up with about 3/4 of an inch here. If you want this to be wider, then you're going to need more fabric to make a wider strap. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that part for my strap. Then from my lining, I have my piece that I cut from the fat quarter, and I would end up with another piece like this. But this piece here is not going to be enough for all the binding that we're gonna do inside. So I suggest you either get another fat quarter, or you can use the pre-made binding that they sell it in packages. You can also use that, or you can also need a little bit more fabric, but you can use any scraps that you have around that goes with your bag, and you can use those for the binding on the inside. It's up to you. It's your choice. So you can cut it into fat quarter from another fat quarter, the same color or a different color if you want to contrast, and cut what I did here. I have mine here cut already, and what I cut here was, I have 2 pieces the size of my fat quarter of 2 inches. So I have 2 pieces of 2 inches, and that will cover all my binding on the inside. Okay, so we're ready to attach the zipper. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my zipper. I'm using these zippers by the yard. So I'm just gonna cut a piece that's gonna go from one end to another like that. I'm gonna leave a little bit extra. If you're not using that, please buy a zipper big enough that you can do a top stitch after, because otherwise it could be a little bit more difficult if you don't have enough zipper on both sides. Okay, so what we're gonna do here to attach the zipper, we've done this in several bags. So right side of the zipper down to your main fabric. Go ahead and attach it to this piece first, secure it in place. Then you go with your lining, and you're gonna go on top and sew that across also. All right. Okay, and I'll show you when it's done. So I attach my zipper to this side. So what I want to do now is I want to laminate a little bit of my bulk here around the zipper. So I'm going to go ahead here on the zippers, on the foam side, and I'm going to trim just the foam. I'm going to get it unstuck from the fabric, and I'm going to go ahead and just trim that little piece of foam there. Then I'm going to turn my lining like that. I'm going to press this slightly like this, and I'm going to go ahead and do a top stitch across here. After you've done that, you have this like this with your lining in the back. You're going to bring your zipper to this side, so this side of the fabric, all here. So what you want to do, you want to even your fabrics out here like that, but just your main fabric. You're going to leave the lining loose, sorry about that. So you're going to bring that there like that with the lining loose, and you're going to go ahead and pin this. You're going to pin that there, and you're going to sew that across first. The reason that when I'm using foam, I always sew it first before I attach my lining is because it will secure it better. And what I want is, I'm going to use a zipper foot, I'm going to sew it across, then I'm going to turn this lining, like I'm going to fold the lining like this. See, that's folded like that. And then my lining also is going to come and fold it like that on top there. And because I already sewed that, I'm going to have a line here on this side of the foam. And what I want is I want to sew on the side of the foam. So after this is attached here, I'm doing the lining and I'm sewing on the side of the foam. Because I already have that line, the first line that I attached the zipper to my main, and I'm going to use that as a guideline. Alright? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So just in case you didn't understand, so we have our zipper attached to this side. We're going to bring that zipper to the top of our main, even it out, sew it down to her main fabric, then bring our lining up, fold it again with right sides together of the lining like that, and we're gonna go ahead and follow the line that we already had sewn and secure the lining into place to the zipper. So you're gonna end up with something like this. So now you're gonna open your zipper. In my case, mine is going to open all the way up because I don't have a stopper, but if yours has a stopper, so you're just going to open until where it goes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this to the right side. So everything to the right side here, like this. So if yours has a stopper, this is going to end up like this. If it has a stopper in one of the ends, you're going to end up with something like this. So what I want you to do now is iron this down and do your top stitch here, across, here, and here. Alright, and then we're going to do our corners. So you can end up with something like this. I top stitch my ends. Now if you're using just a standard zipper, your zipper will be together. You're going to close it. In my case, mine is not. It's so I need to put the zipper pull. So I'm going to put a pin here. If you've never done a zipper pull, and where did I do my pin? So over here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a zipper pull. I want to make sure my fabrics are straight together like that. So I have them evenly like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a pin here so I know they're together evenly. I'm gonna go ahead and get the pole here. In my case here, this one is slightly shorter because I must have moved it while I was sewing. So I'm just gonna put that one in. If not, you get the scissors and you trim a little piece here of the teeth on one of the sides. And then you put it in. Let's see if I'm gonna need to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. Let me just grab my scissors. So it just goes a lot easier if you trim a little piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and even these out again. I want to make sure my fabric is even. Okay, I'll put that in. And I'm gonna hold it together. And there we go. So I'm gonna go ahead, put it all right through, and I'm gonna put it in again because what I want, since I'm using these zippers that's by the yard, I want to leave my pole right in the middle because it will be easier to work with. But you don't have to. You can definitely use a standard zipper. You just have to remember to, okay, let me make sure this is even. And I'm gonna bring mine to the middle. If yours is a regular zipper, you're not gonna be able to leave this in the middle. So one side is gonna be open. So what are you gonna do? The side that's open, you're gonna get some like pins, some needle and thread, and you're gonna sew a couple stitches to keep it closed like that because it will be easier to work with it. So then this is done like this. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn it to the wrong side. So I'm gonna go ahead gently turn it to this side. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and fold this so my zipper will be matching my seam that I had here in the middle. If you didn't have a seam, if you had a full piece of fabric, what you do is you go ahead, put your fabrics here together first, and you clip a little bit here so you know where your middle is. All right, so this is what you do if you don't know where your middle is. You go here, you clip a little piece here so you know where your zipper has to match. But since I have a seam on the other side, I'm just going to bring the middle of my zipper to there, to right in the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and put a couple pins here. Okay, I just want to make sure it matches. I'll do the same on this side. Find my middle to my middle, and put some pins. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and then trim this excess zipper. So remember, if you're using just a standard zipper, close where you can, but then open the zipper where you can. Sorry about that. You're gonna open your zipper to about here, and then you're gonna go here and you do a couple stitches so it stays together like that because it will be easier to work with. In my case, I'm just gonna go ahead and trim this. And you can use your cutter. Or you can use scissors to trim this off. This is very thick, so I'm gonna use a bigger cutter. So I'm gonna make sure this is even, and I'm gonna head and trim this off. I want to make sure all my fabrics are even, so I'm gonna double check here. I have a straight line there, and trim that off. I'll do the same with this one, just the pin is pulling the fabric, so I need to have that. I want to make sure my lining is out when I trim this. So I'm gonna go ahead, have a straight line there. Oh, didn't go through it. And that happens sometimes. I'm cutting a lot of layers plus the zipper teeth. Okay. So when this is done, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna mark our corners. So on these bags here, as you see my height here, I have about 5 inch, so that means about 2 1/4 is what I need to draw here. So I'm gonna get a marking pen, and I'm gonna do about 2 1/4 from the edge of my fabric to the edge here. I'm gonna mark 2 1/4, and I'm gonna go ahead and mark that. On this case here, I couldn't do it that much taller, because if I did that much taller, that means it would come too close to the zipper, would be very hard to sew. So if I needed to make this slightly taller, I would have to make my fabric wider. I would have to cut it a wider piece. Otherwise it will end up, it's not going to be balanced. Right, because you see when I mark here, I'm still going to be sewing about 1/4 inch here, somewhere here, so that would be very close to the zipper. So you would only end up with a little bit of fabric in each side of the zipper. So if you need to make this taller, that means your piece of fabric has to be bigger. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing here. Another way you can check if you're correct, you can also try to go like this and see if your lines go right across. If you have the 2 1/4, let me push it here so you can see what I'm doing. So if I want to check this is correct, I have the same measurement, I can definitely go here, and I have 2 1/4 from the line down, and I should have 2 1/4, and this should go here, and here should be the same. The same thing with here. Okay, so if I go 2 1/4 from the edge of my fabric, my lines here, 2 1/4, should be here exactly on. Another thing you can also measure is your distance here from the middle, so you have the same distance in both sides, just to double check. All right, so just to make sure is that your zipper is right in the middle, because otherwise your measurements will be off. So then what we're going to do, we're going to cut this off. I think my measurement here was a little off. I wasn't right in the middle with my zipper, and that will interfere with my measurement, and that can happen. That's why I double check. Okay. So now I have my zipper right there. I'm good. And this side is good. Yeah, this side is good. So let me just double check this. And it's just tiny bit, but it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. So you're gonna go ahead and sew this here. Oh, before you do that, well, you wanna add a little piece just to help you to pull the zipper. So from the strap that we did to put across, I'm gonna cut a little piece off. I would say about 3.5 inches. Then you're gonna fold it, and one of the sides of the zipper, okay, so it closes this way, so the opposite side where it closes. So my zipper closes this way, so I'm gonna go to the opposite side here, and I'm gonna put this here, right in between here. I'm gonna put that there, pin it back there, and I'm gonna go ahead and secure this here and here. When it's done, the 2-inch strip that you had, the 2-inch strip that we cut, you're gonna cut the selvage off. You're gonna cut a piece that's gonna be the same size as this here. Can be slightly bigger, it's no big deal. And you're gonna go ahead and sew this across. And the seam that what I'm using is about 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm gonna go ahead and secure that there. So I'm gonna do a seam here. I'm just gonna put a pin to show you. After it's sewed, you're gonna go here. See, gonna go there. Turn it to this side here. Of course, my pins is interfering with my fabric right now because it's not a seam. So after that's sewed, you're gonna bring this in, you're gonna fold it and fold it on top, just like that, and you're gonna do a seam here to secure all this in place. You're gonna do the same thing to this side. So both sides should be the same, and I'll show you to do the corners in a minute. So I attached those two pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and clip it. So now we're gonna do these corners. What I wanna do first, I wanna mark where my middle is here. So I'm gonna clip a little bit. So I know when I fold it, I'm folding it correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead, make sure this is straight, and clip those. Get all this stuff out of here. So now what I'm gonna do is, I wanna add my strap. And my strap has to be where the zipper closes. So I don't want a huge strap, so I would say about 9 inches, around there. You can do it bigger if you want or smaller, it's up to you. But I think that's big enough. And what I want to do, I'm actually going to open my zipper so I can have a look where I want to put it. See? And my zipper closes to this side, so this is where I want to put it. So I can definitely go here where I just sewed to make it slightly easier. And I don't want to have it right on this seam here because it's going to add too much bulk. So I'm going to go right under or right over. So I think in this case I'm gonna go right over. So if I turn this right to the right side, let's see, so you can see how it's coming out. It's like that. So I want this to be the side that closes the zipper here. So I want to go here, and I think I'm gonna do right over the zipper like that. So I'm just gonna secure it in place. If you want to take this to the sewing machine and secure it slightly, and also there, see, like that, right over that seam. There's my seam. I'm gonna put it there. And I'm just gonna put the pin going this way, because I'm gonna have to take it out when I turn it to the side, because I need to sew this. So, but I know at least my strap is correct. So I'm just gonna turn this back to this side, and I'm gonna do those corners now. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and see where I clipped it. This little clip is gonna go to the seam that I have there, so they're gonna match. And what I want to do, I want to fold this, the binding part here, down, and I want to match that clip with that there. In this case here, you can use pins or clips. Clips sometimes can work really well in here in foam. I have my clips somewhere there. I don't know where I put them. So, all right. So again, I'm gonna bring my clip to there. This folds down and pin. And I'm gonna go ahead, sew that there, do all of these, the same thing. Okay, so after you've done that, we also gonna use that 2-inch strip, but I'll show you in a second how to do one, and then all the other ones will be done the same. Just gonna secure these in place, and I show you how to do one of the corners. So I sew all my corners, and I'm just gonna show you how to add the binding. So you're gonna get a piece of binding. I already got all my binding done, but I'm just gonna left one to show you. So you're gonna get a piece of binding. So you're gonna cut it that's slightly bigger than your corner. But before that, before you do any of that, always make sure open your bag and check, make sure you caught everything, that everything got caught, that you have all your fabrics in there, that you don't need to resew something or adjust something. So check all those seams first. Then you're ready to do the binding. So you're gonna cut a piece of the 2-inch and whatever size you have here, and you're gonna put it like that. Then you're gonna go ahead, turn it to the side. See, as you see, it's slightly longer than the side here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fold here. Of course, these threads, you should trim your threads, because you'll have nicer, clean work. So you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna fold in like that, and fold in. You can get a little clip to help you to keep it in place, or a pin. Okay, then that's folded, and you're gonna fold this down to halfway down, and then you're gonna fold it again to cover your seam there, like that. See, I think it's visible. Okay, so you're gonna fold that to cover that seam, and then you're gonna refold it. So fold in half like that, and then fold it. Okay, and you're gonna go ahead. Okay, the middle part here, because it's foam, it tends to try to get out. So go ahead and put another little clip and fold. Like that. Now it's up to you. You can do a top stitch in a sewing machine, or you can sew it by hand. I'm using mine on the sewing machine. I'm not too concerned that's 100% perfect because it's inside of my bag, so I'm not too worried about it. So you're gonna go ahead and sew that, and your bag is done. So I will do that afterwards. I'm just gonna flip it to the right side now just to so you can see. So I'm gonna adjust that and adjust that. Okay, here I have the clip, so I can't adjust too much because I didn't sew that part yet, but I think it gives you the idea. And there you go. And this little part here that we added here helps you to close the zipper. And the reason that I want my zipper to close here, to have it to where I have my strap, is because if I'm gonna carry like that and I have things in it, if this zipper is to the other side, it might open and you end up with everything on the floor, so you don't want that. So, and the bag is done. So I hope you guys like this project. We'll see you next week for another video. We can also do these without binding. If you guys are interested in seeing the same bag but done without binding, that we can do all inside seams, just leave us a comment, and I will try to do another video on the same bag, but just with different way of closing these corners without you binding. Alright, so happy sewing. Bye everyone.